Hello students, how are you? Okay, I welcome you all for the second class of biology. Yesterday we have done some portions of the chapter, like I have given you the introduction of cell, what is it, what is the history of the cell, who has invented it, who has given the cell theory. Okay, then we have studied that how the cell was invented. Okay, that we studied difference between multicellular, unicellular, we have done yesterday. Then we did the function of the cell, basic function of the cell, why the cell is important, or why the living thing is different from the non-living thing, that also we have done. Okay, so without wasting much of the time, I would go to the today's topic, that why the cell is called as the basic unit of life. Because it does all the functions of our body, whatever functions our body you can for our body you can think of, whether you are eating the food, whether you are digesting the food, whether you are breathing in, breathing out, you are doing, whether you are doing the contraction and relaxation, excretion of the waste products, every activities is controlled by a set of cells, because the cells are the basic unit and they only combine to form the tissues combine to form the organ, and the organs combine to form the organ system. Okay, so the first point is why we call the cell as a basic unit of life, because it it performs all the life functions like intake of food material, excretion, metabolism, respiration, irritability. Irritability means, children, like something, if your body is not going to accept it, it rejects. That is also called as irritability. Second thing is the division of labor. Like, children, if we have to do some work, it becomes easier when we divide into under different heads. Like, suppose if we have to arrange for a party, what we do, somebody are given the assigned the work of bringing the raw material, somebody has given the work to arrange the hall, somebody is given for cooking, somebody gives for xxxyz things. Similarly, a cell also divides its work under number of heads, and those heads are called as cell organelles. If the transportation of something has to be done from the cell towards the outside world, or something has to be brought from outside to inside the cell, then plasma membrane works. Similarly, if the energy production has to be done, then mitochondria is done. So these names are what? These are called as the cell organelles. So the cell functions, but it functions efficiently only when all of its components work, or you can say departments work efficiently in a coordinated manner, and those are called as cell organelles. And each, as I have said, each head, each team has a definite work. So each cell organelle performs different functions, like some of them helps to clear the waste material. Some of them helps in the protein synthesis, protein formation. Some of them they do the lipid. Lipid means fat formation. So in detail, when we will take up individual cell organelle, we will get to know the importance and its relevant function for the cell. Why it is there. If its presence is there inside the cells, definitely it has some role. It has some kind of purpose. Okay, children. So why cell is called as a basic unit of life? Because it performs all the functions of the body, and it functions by dividing the work under its components, that is called as cell organelles. Next comes, we come for what is cell made of? Made up of what? Now, suppose if you see this diagram, if we say that, now, when on totality, if we see that cell is a very small unit, but it is made up of a like one big area is there. This is called as cytoplasm. When the cytoplasm is included with the cell membrane, then we call it as a protoplasm. Okay, so a cell is a tiny mass of protoplasm which is surrounded by a membrane and is capable of performing all the functions. So you can see that there is one semi-solid fluid which is present, and when it is enclosed by a boundary, this is called as a cell. And inside this boundary, inside this semi-solid fluid, many components are swimming and performing the functions of the cell. Okay? Now, a typical cell is formed of three parts. Mainly, we divide the cell into three parts. First one, the outer boundary, that is called as the plasma membrane. Second one, the central location of the cell. Central location of the cell is occupied with a special kind of organelle that is called as a nucleus. Third one is the, you can say, the matrix area. You can say that the background area, that is called as a cytoplasm. And each one has a separate function, like plasma membrane to create a separate environment, because when this cell has to be differentiated from the other parts of the body, it separates it. So cytoplasm has its own role. It creates a separate environment for the organelles. Second one, nucleus. Nucleus controls the cell, because if the nucleus will not be there, or you can say that it is a brain of the cell. If the nucleus won't be there in the cell, the other functions of the cell cannot be done efficiently. Third one is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm helps in carrying out the metabolic functions, like whether anything has to come inside, whether the extra or waste things has to be sent out, or when the cell has to be prepared for the cell division, when the cell has to be prepared for the respiration. Everything, the environment produced in the cell is done by the cytoplasm. So this is the cell membrane, this is the nucleus, okay, and this one, the filled part, is called as the cytoplasm. Now, coming to the first one we will do is the cell membrane. Cell membrane, when you draw the cell, looks very simple, just like a line. But the double membrane has some composition that also you have to study. Now, we say that there is a bilayer of this glycoprotein. You can say like glycolipid. Okay, there's a bilayer. Now this is one lipid structure, this one yellow colored ball and the two tails. This is the glycolipid, okay, and the upper part of this component, this is one layer and this is another layer, and but both the tail portions are on each other like this, okay. Now there is one special feature of this component. The yellow color part, the head part, is the hydrophilic and the tail part is hydrophobic. Hydrophilic means water lover. Hydrophobic means water hater. So if the cell membrane is facing this to the outer world, water will can pass through the yellow ball, but it will not be able to pass through the tail. So the water cannot come inside the cell. So the cell membrane will stop. Now, along with these glycolipid, there are some globular protein molecules are also present embedded in the gaps of the glycolipid. So they are also water lover, but they can pass through the protein molecule, but they cannot go further down. So that is why channel proteins are also present. Channel proteins are elongated proteins. These are the channel proteins which are elongated protein. What they do, they absorb, they transfer through the both bilayer and then they take it inside the cell. So a cell membrane structure is made up of two layers of glycolipid, some globular protein. Why do we call it as a globular? Globular structure is always spherical. Some globular proteins are present, which keeps this bilayer intact, and it helps to move the to and fro movement of this glycolipid also. And there is one channel protein are present. The function of the channel protein is to facilitate the transfer of the water molecules from the outer world to the inner side of the cell. And whatever materials has to be transported, if some only required materials are only passed, unwanted materials will not be able to pass through the channel protein. Okay. So this way, cell membrane facilitates the transportation of the components from outside of the cell to inside and from inside to outside. So children, you can make a diagram of like this, not so elaborate, little. You can make one layer, like these are the glycoproteins, then you embed the glycolipid, and then you embed the globular protein, and then you embed the channel protein in such a way that they are touching from the outside till the inner side also, so that it will help to facilitate the movement of the components. Now, whatever I have said, it is given in the detail of about the cell membrane. You can write down these 5 points. Okay, first one, what is plasma membrane? The outermost delicate elastic membranous covering of the cell that separates its content from the external environment is called as a plasma membrane. You can make it simpler. It is the outermost layer which is elastic and which covers the cell, which protects the cell, or you can say which makes a boundary of the cell, and that separates the inner material of the cell from the external environment is called as the plasma membrane. Okay. Second, the feature of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is selective permeable. Selectively permeable means it only allows the entry of certain substances but restricts other. If it is like it detects, there is a checking kind of thing does at the plasma membrane. Like if it is useful for the cell, then only it will allow the entry. If it is not, it will not allow the entry of the materials. It is made up of bilipid layer. I said bilipid layer. The upper part is called as the hydrophilic and the lower tail-like structure is called as hydrophobic. And there are some proteins integrated in and out. Some of the proteins are present between the gap of the lipid layer, and some of the proteins are embedded in such a way that they are beginning from the top and going till the inner portion. Some small carbohydrates are also attached at such places to the outer surface of lipids and proteins. Okay, so there are certain carbohydrates are also attached to the bilayer of the lipid. What is the function of the cell membrane? First, it gives shape to the content of the cell. That means if the the cell membrane will not be there, the cell will not have the shape. Second one, mechanical barrier. What is the meaning of mechanical barrier? That means it restricts the unwanted substances to come inside. It restricts the important ingredients to go out of the cell. Third one, semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means it selects only certain things which are going to be useful for the cell. Endocytosis. This is new for you, I think. Okay. So endocytosis means it removes out the things. Endo means outside. If something is like, it's like an excretion. If something is produced inside the cell as a waste, it opens, like the plasma membrane opens, and from there it moves out. If we say instead of endocytosis, if we use the term exocytosis, that means if something has to be engulfed from outer world, it also does the exocytosis. Endocytosis from inner side to outside, if it has to be thrown out, this is called as endocytosis. recognition centers. That means it recognizes what are the important things for do. Now, next one is flow of information. That means if the something has to be done inside the cell, it gives the information. Now, not only that, plasma membrane has a very important function, that it helps in the transportation of the materials from one cell to another cell. Secondly, from inner part of the cell to the outer part of the cell, from outer part to the inner part of the cell. That is why we call it as it helps in the transportation. So transportation can be done by the different methods. So when we describe the transportation, we do two types of transportation. One is called as a passive transportation and second one is called as an active transportation. It will come in the next topic. Okay. So remember, by the term passive, passive means slow. So when slowly something is transported from outer to inner or inner to outer, this is called as passive transportation. And when it is needed to be transported, it needs some energy to push, that is called as active transportation. Okay, so there are certain methods of active and passive also, that we will do it in the next topic. Now you can see that transport, this is one of the very important function of the cell membrane. This is transport across the membrane. Okay, you can see in the picture, like suppose this is a cell. This is the inner part of the cell and this is the outer part of the cell. And this portion is the membrane. This is the cell membrane. Now, this is solution L and this is solution B. You can see that. Okay. Now, these are the molecules Y, some maybe components. Now, you can see that the Y molecules are in excess inside the solution L, which is inside the cell. So, and this portion is deficient of the Y molecules. What will happen? Some of the Y, here the concentration of Y is more, here the concentration of Y is less. So, always the movement is done from the high concentration area to the low concentration area through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So, and this way the transportation is done. So, the cell membrane acts as a physical barriers between the organelles of the cell and its cytoplasm and its surrounding environment. Every organelle is covered by a membrane. So, they are also separated from each other. Similarly, the cytoplasm of the cell is separated from the outside world. Impermeable term. The term impermeable means which do not allow the entry. That means it is totally restricted. If we say that the cell membrane is impermeable for this particular component, that means the cell membrane will not allow the movement. Semi-permeable means only selective. They are permeable to solvent but prevent solute. That means liquid can be passed but solids cannot be passed. Selective permeable means if the membrane allows the passage of the solvent and some selected solutes. So here are the 4 points that you have to learn: impermeable, permeable, semi-permeable, selective permeable. This is for your life. You have to keep it. There is slight difference between each of these conditions that you have to remember. In the next class, we will do the passive transport system in the done by the cell membrane. For today, this much is enough. I am going to give you a few questions that you have to solve. Okay, children, have a good day.